I am so happy. Thank you, Rack. You are so awesome. Did you say you were a Boy Scout?
I was for a short time.
You got to the knot tying part.
Yeah, I did a couple of those.
I'm so grateful to you. I can do it. I can do another 8 weeks now. Thank you so much.
First of all, I just wanted to say, for the 3 of you who've been watching these videos on a regular basis, remember like 8 or 8.5 weeks ago when I did a little video about how my mother on a budget was like the, you know, like the blue collar Martha Stewart, and she would do things to make the house nice, like put water and plastic flowers into booze bottles and add some food coloring and set it in the windowsill so it was sort of like, you know, poor people's stained glass or something. And I talked about the sweet potato. You know, take a sweet potato that you forgot to eat, put it in some water, and it brings a little green around the house. Well, here's the sweet potato update. It is now probably I should use, instead of bringing the sweet potato to the camera, I'll just show you. It's like fucking, sorry, I shouldn't be so vulgar in my language. It's like fucking Little Shop of Horrors over here. This sweet potato is trying to take over my life. So that's sort of like maybe I'm going to try to tie the sweet potato in here. I'm probably being too ambitious. It's a Monday. Not that that really matters. My caffeine hasn't completely kicked in. That definitely affects my thoughts or my inability to think in order. But, you know, the sweet potato kind of marks the passing of time. And why don't I just get to the stories? So I think it's pretty well known that I am a Bruce Springsteen fanatic. And I've been thinking about how in high school, my best friend Anna and I, we were just completely obsessed with Bruce. And we're still obsessed with Bruce. And she's super obsessed with Bruce. She follows him. Hi, Anna. And one line that I think, this might sound very like sort of teenagery, but I swear it really worked, is that line about one day we'll look back on this and things will I didn't have my coffee. Someday we'll look back on this and things will all seem funny. Is that it? Great. For a fanatic, I can't think of the line. But he's got that line about how, you know, we look back and things seem funny. So I don't think it is easy or even necessarily possible right now to see some of the things that we're going through and put a humorous spin on it. Like, oh, remember that time during the lockdown when I don't know, wore the same pair of pants 90 days in a row? It's not so funny. But I wonder, like, years from now, we'll look back and what will seem funny from this experience. Maybe you already have some funny experiences. Please share. I had an experience yesterday, which is not yet funny, but it reminded me of 2 other experiences that were not funny at the time, and which are pretty hilarious now to talk about. So, a couple quick stories. Recently I decided to go back in the garden and start working. It's like that Lucas Nelson song that I love, Turn Off the News, you know, and build a garden with me. Beautiful song. And that's been running through my head for weeks now. So I've been working in the garden a little bit in honor of Pop, and yesterday I was going to weed, and I was going to have a really good attitude about weeding. And I went out there and I borrowed some gloves from Gerald, and I'm weeding, and all of a sudden I feel this feeling, and I look, and my arms have fire ants all over them. And I know everyone is allergic to fire ants. I don't think there's anyone who's not. But I really do have a severe allergy to insect bites. I carry an EpiPen. I'm allergic to bee stings. Whenever I get a mosquito bite, I get a massive welt. And so I brushed that fire ants off, but of course it was too late. So I didn't get very far in my weeding. I came in the house. I took a shower. I used vinegar. What else did I put? Aloe. And it doesn't matter. My arms, I'm not going to show them to you, but they're swollen. They have blisters all over them. And the pain was so intense. It's all I could focus on. I couldn't think about anything else yesterday. So now the pain volume is down quite a bit, but I'm super itchy. I have this horrible blisters. And it's just not that funny yet. But it did remind me of these two stories. One is that one time when Henry and I were in Galveston, back when Paula had this garage apartment on the alley, and Henry was pretty little, and I was loading the car to leave the island, and I had the passenger door open. This was on the old Toyota, and I'm standing in the alley loading stuff, and I suddenly feel this feeling on my legs, and I look down and my legs are covered in fire ants. So because the passenger door was open, I sort of screamed and fell back into the front passenger seat. Well, then I screamed some more because I landed on a paper bag, and what was inside the paper bag, I had purchased a one of those souvenir blowfish, you know, the blowfish there. Why would I buy that? That's so sad that they sell those as souvenirs. But back then I thought it was cool. So it's this, puffed out blowfish with spines all over it. So I've landed on it. I've now got a blowfish stuck in my butt, and I've got ants all over my legs. And it was not really very funny then, but it's very funny now. And the other funny story is back in the spring of 1988. Like, what is that? 32 years almost to the day. I was at the Long Branch, which was my favorite bar. I lived in Knoxville, and there were these buskers singing outside. And I'm not going to name any names, but let's just say the main character in this story is still a great friend of mine. And if you want to identify yourself in the comments, you can, but if not, I understand. So I bought the guys some pitchers of beer and brought them out, and then I got drunker and drunker because that's what I did for 20 years. And then I invited them to stay in my apartment. I felt okay with that, whatever. And I just was really smitten with the lead singer. We stayed up and talked for hours and hours, and it was wonderful. Nothing happened. I went to sleep. They were going to leave town the next day. And then I was at my waitressing job at the Lunchbox the next day, hung over as all fuck. And they came in and said, well, we're staying another day. There's a party on the edge of town, and there's going to be a teepee and blah, blah, blah. And we want you to go with us. So I went, and oh gosh, I was so hungover. I was so tired. It was this trippy party. There was a teepee. And the lead singer, gosh, I'm not going to name names. We were talking. I was so tired. And then, one thing led to another. And before you know it, we were just getting it on out in this field underneath these beautiful stars. And it was it was wonderful. It was just like out of a movie. And then I went to sleep because I was so tired. And he went off to play music at the fire. And then the next morning we woke up. We were asleep on a little tiny single bed in his Volkswagen camper. And he went out and he looked at, the sun coming up, and he said, oh shit. And I'm like, what? Well, that was not a field of grass. It was a field of poison ivy. So I'm going to speed the story up a little bit and say that we both wound up having to go to the hospital. I mean, I have poison ivy on every inch of my body. I'm also severely allergic to poison ivy. I was covered. It was the kind of situation where when I was at the hospital, they'd be like, we'll be right back. And then they go get the entire staff because I'm like a textbook case. No one's ever seen poison ivy like this. And same was true for my friend. But the fun part was he couldn't leave because we were literally could not move. So we spent a week side by side in bed, kind of socially distancing before that was a thing, gobbling Benadryl, and just talking and really getting to know each other. And that led to just a wonderful, wonderful friendship. So that's a pretty funny story. Do you have any stories like that started out but now you can laugh over them? Let me know. I'm curious.
Hey y'all, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you'll like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like this episode, I hope that you'll copy this link, share it with a friend, paint it on a wall, put it on your social media. That'd be great. Thanks a million. Take it easy.